Hi, I'm Javed. Welcome back to another lecture today on single digit multiplication methods. Many think that these lectures are specific to kids. In fact, these lectures are meant for everyone, especially for those who aspire to perform quick calculations and for those who aspire to score high in competitive exams. We have many competitive exams like banking exams, government job, UPSC, RRB exams, management entrance exams like CAT, GMAT, engineering exams like GATE, defense exams like NDA, teaching exams, international exams like GRE, and other competitive exams like Olympiads. In all these exams, it will definitely help you to score faster and better. I hope these series of lectures will help you score good in your academics, as well as in competitive exams. Let's dive into today's topic. These series of lectures help you to perform fast calculations using rapid methods for basic math operations such as multiplication, division methods, square and square roots. And here are the topics covered in this lectures. Today's topic is single digit multiplication method without using tables. For those who didn't watch the first introduction lecture, I suggest to watch that first. You will find the details of these lectures in the description box. From previous lecture, we saw how rule-based method works and how easy it is to multiply 11 and 12 with any number. We see now the rules for single-digit numbers. Numbers that are mentioned in pairs have a similarity in the rule applied. That's the reason I have mentioned the numbers in as 6 and 7, because 6 and 7 have the same similar rule applied, similarly as for 8 and 9 and 3 and 4. Let's refresh the basic steps to apply the rule. Here I'm considering an example of 2314 into 6. Here 2314 is a multiplicand and 6 is a multiplier. Always consider the multiplicand to apply the rule, and we have to start working from the digit 4, which is from the rightmost corner towards the left. So here we are going to work on the digit 4 and then 1 and then 3 and 2. Consider appending 10 to the multiplicand for to apply the rule. So our multiplicand should always be appended with 0. Now after applying this, it will be 0, 2, 3, 1, 4. In the step-by-step process, we should always consider the rightmost digit to apply the rule and then write the result. It is always a best practice to write the result exactly below the digit. If you are working on the digit 4, then write the result of that 4 just below the digit 4, likewise till 0. And here, as we know that neighbor is a term which we'll use in this method, and neighbor is a number right next to it. So for here, the 4 is a neighbor of 1, 1 is a neighbor of 3, 3 is a neighbor of 2, and 2 is a neighbor of 0, and there is no neighbor for 4 in this case. Here we are going to use some additional terms to apply the rule for single digit numbers. So even number, as we know, even number is a number which is divisible by 2, and the odd number is a number which is not divisible by 2. So from 0 to 9 we have 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 are the even numbers, and we have 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 as the odd numbers, and we use another term half the neighbor. So here we will be using a term half the neighbor, which indicates that we will have to half the neighbor. If it is 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, then half the neighbor would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if it is odd number 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, it will be the same 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, because we are not going to consider a fraction part here. Let's begin with 6 multiplication with any number. Here the rule for 6 is add 5 to the number if the number is odd and none if it's even, and then add half the neighbor. So here let's take an example of 2314 into 6. So I'm going to start with the digit 4, which is from the rightmost. Here the rule that we need to apply is add 5 to the neighbor if the number is odd and none if it's even. So in this case 4 is an even number, so we don't have to add 5, and we'll have to add a half the neighbor, and there is no neighbor, so it is 0. 4 plus 0 is equal to 0. And then 1 is an odd number, so here we need to add 5 because it's an odd number. So 1 plus 5 and plus 2 is the half of the neighbor, and the neighbor is 4. So 1 plus 5 plus 2 is equal to 8. And the next digit is 3. Again, it's an odd number, so we will have to add 5 and then half the neighbor. The neighbor is 1, so half the neighbor is 0, so it is 8. And coming to the next digit 2, and again here this is an even number, so we'll have to add half the neighbor to it. So 2 plus 1 is 3. And coming to the last digit here, we need to add 0 plus 1 because 0 is an even number, and we have to add half the neighbor. Half the neighbor that is 2 is equal to 1, so the answer is 13884. Consider another example which has a carry forwards. So here we'll see that there's an example with the carry forwards. So let's consider an example. So we will start with the number 9 here. So here 9 is an odd number, so we'll have to add 5 and then half the neighbor. There is no neighbor, so 9 plus 5 is 14. Here we keep 4 and we will carry forward the 1 towards the next digit. So now the 6. Here 6 is an even number, so we'll have to we shouldn't add 5. So 6 plus 4 is the half the neighbor. 9 is a neighbor, and half of it is 4, and plus the carry forward that we will that is 1. So adding it will have 11. So we'll have to keep 1 here and move 1 carry forwarded to the other digit. So 8 is an even number, so we'll have to add only the half of the neighbor, that is 3, and plus 1 carry, and it is 12. So we'll keep 2 and 1 here, where 1 will be carried forward to the other number. Then here 9 is an odd number, so we'll have to add 5 and then plus the half the neighbor, which is 4, and plus 1 and the carry. So you'll have to, and the answer is 19, and so we'll have to keep 9 and move a carry towards the next digit. Here we have 0. 0 is an even number, so 0 plus 4 is half the neighbor, plus 1 is a carry, that is 5. So the answer is 59214. As we saw earlier, we can derive the table using the rule. So here for 0, 1 into 6, if we apply the rule, 1 is an odd number, so we'll have to add 5 and then half the neighbor is 0, so 1 plus 5 plus 0 equal to 6. And here for the next digit 0, it is 0 plus 0 equal to 0, because half the neighbor of 1 is 0, and it's an even number, so you don't have to add a 5, so 0. So likewise, if you see the table completely, so I have added 5 to the number when it is odd. So you can see I have added 5 for 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. And here in the when we are multiplying with the 10, I have added a 5 here as well when it is the digit 1. So here you can see from the number 5, the rightmost digit will have a double digit number. In this case, the carry forward can be seen, and once this carry forward 1 will be passed towards the other digit, so you can see 0, 2 plus 1. So likewise, this table can be derived using this rule. See the rule for 7 multiplication with any number. Here the rule is double the number, add 5 to the number if the number is odd and none of it's even, and add half the number. This rule is same as for the rule 6, but here we have an additional step, that is double the number. So before adding 5, if the number is odd or even, we have to double the number first. So here let's see an example. Here I'm considering an example 2114 into 7. So here 4 is an even number, so you will have to first double it. So 4 into 2 is 8 plus 0. Since it is even, we are not adding a 5 here, and half the neighbor, there is no neighbor, so it is 0. So 8 plus 0 equal to 8. Now the digit 1, the next digit is 1. Here we are doubling the number, which is 2 plus 5. This is an odd number, so we are adding 5 and then half the neighbor, and the half the neighbor for 4 is 2. So 2 plus 5 plus 2 equal to 9, and 1. Since 1 1, we have to first double the number, which is 2, plus 5, we are adding 5 because it's an odd number, and then plus 0. The neighbor, half the neighbor of 1 is 0, so 2 plus 5 equal to 7. And next 2 again. So here for 2, we have to double the number 4 and plus 0. Half the neighbor of 1 is 0, so 4 plus 0 equal to 4. And lastly we have 0 and 0 plus 1. Half the neighbor of 1 is 1, so equal to 1. So the answer is 14798. Here is another example with carry forwards. So let's start with the digit 3 from the rightmost number. So here 3 into 2 6. First double the number plus 5. Since 3 is an odd number, we'll have to add 5 and plus neighbor. There is no neighbor, so we'll add 0. So the answer is 11. We'll keep the result 1 and carry forward 1 to the next digit. 6 is an even number, so we'll just double the number plus add half the neighbor. The neighbor is 3, so half the neighbor is 1, plus carry forward 1, so it is 14. You keep the result as 4 and carry forward 1 to the next digit. Since 1 is an odd number, we are adding 5 after doubling the number, plus 3 is a half the neighbor of 6, and plus 1 is a carry forward, so 11. We'll keep the result 1 and carry forward the number 1 towards the next digit. 8 is an even number, so we'll double the number first, plus 0. 0 is the half the neighbor, plus 1 is a carry forward, so 17. We'll keep the answer 7 and carry forward the number 1 towards the next digit. And here 0 into 2 0, plus 4 is a half of the neighbor, plus 1 is a carry forward, and answer is 5. So the answer is 57141. Let's have a look at 7 table. And this the rule is same as 6. The only thing is that we need to double the number, and the rest of the rule is same as 6. So let's start with 0 1 and 1. Here we are doubling the number 1 2 plus add the neighbor, because it is add the neighbor is 0, and plus 5 because it's a odd, so 2 plus 5 plus 0 equal to 7. And here 0 plus half the neighbor is 0. 1 is a neighbor, half of 1 is equal to 0, so it is 0. So next is 0 2. When it comes to 0 2, 2 is an even number, so we will have to double the number plus add the neighbor. Add half the neighbor is 0, plus 4 equal to 4. And 1. So here when it comes to 0, then you will see 0 plus 1, because half the neighbor of 2 is equal to 1, so it is 1. So you will find something interesting from the number 3 here. So when it comes to 3, since the number is odd, we'll have to add 5. So doubling the number, it becomes 6 plus 5 and plus 0, it is 11. You will have to keep the result 1 and carry forward the number 1 to the next digit. So here you will have 0 plus 1. Half the neighbor of 3 is 1, and plus carry forward as 1, so it becomes 2. Similarly, you can see this carry forward is happening from here. For every odd number, you can see the carry forward is happening here, and accordingly the number is getting added. The carry forward is getting added to this leftmost digit. So this is how you can derive the complete table using this rule. Let's have a look at 5 multiplication with any number. Rule for 5 is just use half the neighbor, add 5 if the number is odd, and none for even. So use half the neighbor. There is no neighbor, so it is 0 for the first digit, 4. And when it comes to 1, you will have to use half the neighbor. Use half the neighbor, the neighbor is 4, and use half the neighbor, 2 plus 5. The number is odd, so you will have to add 5, that is 7. And we'll go to the next number, that is 3. 3 is an odd number, so we'll have to add 5 and plus use half the neighbor. Half the neighbor is 1. 1 is a neighbor, and half of it is 0, so 0 plus 5 equal to 5. And then next digit is 2. We'll have to add half the neighbor. Half the neighbor of 3 is 1 and equal to 1, so it is 1. And for last digit 0, and you will use half the neighbor, that is 1, which is half the neighbor 2. So the answer is 11570. So And let's see how it works out for the carry forwards. So in phi rule, you will not come across towards a carry forward, because the max number that you can use is 4 for the number 9, and plus 5 to add if the number is odd. In this case it will be 4 plus 5 in equal to 9. So you won't come across any carry in phi multiplication method for this rule. And let's see how the table is derived using this rule. So whenever it is an odd number, you will add 5, and if it is not odd, it is simply 0, because it doesn't have any neighbor to it. So it is simply that whenever an odd appears, then you will have to keep the number 5, and here you will be applying only use half the neighbor when the neighbor is 1. So accordingly the half of the neighbor has to be mentioned here. So it's, if it is 1 it is 0, if it is 2 or 3 it is 1, if it is 4 or 5 it is 2, it is 6 or 7 is 3, and 8 9 equal to 4. So this is how you can derive a table using this rule. Let's see the multiplication of 9 with any number. Here the rule is, see this for the number 9, the rules are little different than what we have seen so far. So here the rule applies and has to be applied in 3 steps. The first step, so here we have 3 steps: first step, middle step, and last step. So first step has to be applied for the first digit, and middle steps has to be applied for the middle steps following from the second step till the last before step, and the last step has to be applied for the last one. So we will see how it works in the next example. But in the first step you will have to subtract the number from 10, and for middle steps you have to subtract the number from 9 and add the neighbor. And the last step is you will have to reduce the lastmost digit of multiplicand by 1. So here is an example for 9 multiplication. So as I mentioned, the last step, so for clear understanding, I have mentioned the steps here, how the steps will be applied. So the first most digit from the right is a first step, and all the intermediate steps are considered as a middle steps, and the last step is called as a which we apply in the last most digit, that is 0 in our case. So this is the last step. So let's start with the first step. In the first step you will have to subtract the number from 10. So the number is 4, so you have to subtract it from 10, it is 6. And the next is on the next digit, what we will have to subtract from 9 and add the neighbor. So here we are subtracting the number from 9, so 9 minus 6 and plus 4 is a neighbor, so it is 7. And again here 9 is a number, so we'll have to subtract this 9 from 9 minus 9, and plus 6 is a neighbor, so it is 6. And again 9 minus 9 plus 9 equal to 9. And the last digit we'll have to consider a last most digit of this multiplicand. The last most digit of the multiplicand is 9, so we'll have to reduce this number by 1, so it is 9 minus 1 equal to 8. So I've considered this example to avoid the carry forwards as an example to show. Next one, we will see how a carry forward works for the case of 9 multiplication. So again, so as I mentioned, there are 3 steps you have to follow: first, middle, and last steps. So let's start with the first step. The first step is you will have to subtract from 10 minus 1 equal to 9, first step. And the middle step is, when it comes 8, you will have to subtract from 9. So all these middle steps has to be subtracted from 9 and plus add the neighbor. So 9 minus 8 plus 1 equal to 2. And here it is 9 minus 3 plus 8. 8 is a neighbor, so 14. You will have to keep 4 and carry forward the number 1 to its next digit. And here 9 minus 5 is a number, plus 3 is a neighbor, and plus 1 is a carry. So it is 8. And the last number, so here the last most digit is 5, and reduce it by 1 is 5 minus 1 equal to 4. So the answer is 48429. So here we are going to apply the same rule for deriving a table 9. The interesting part of this particular table is, since we have 3 steps here, we won't be able to apply the middle step for the numbers from 01 to 09, and the middle step will be applicable only for the digit 010 and the last. Okay, so you will not find applying a middle step for any of these numbers starting from 1 to 9, whereas you will be applying this only for the number which is 010. So here we will be applying in the first for the first rightmost digit, we will be applying the rule of first step, and the leftmost digit will be applying the rule of the last step. And only in this case 010 will be applying the middle step only for this case, that is 1. As you can see here, I have subtracted from 9 minus 1 and plus 1 is basically the carry of the previous leftmost digit, so it is 9. So this is how you can derive a table using this rule. Let's continue with 8 multiplication with any number. Rule for 8 is same as the rule for 7. The only difference is we will have to double the number in these steps, first and middle steps. As I mentioned, the subtract the number from 10 and double for the number 8, whereas for 9 you should not double the number. And the middle step also subtract from 9 and double and then add the neighbor. And the last step, you will have to reduce the leftmost digit of multiplicand by 2. Let's see an example here. So for the number 6, you will have to, this is a first step. So in the first step, we will have to first subtract the number by 10 and into 2. We will have to double. So it is 8. 10 minus 6 equal to 4. 4 into 2 equal to 8. And then the middle step is first you will have to subtract from 9 and double and then add the neighbor. So 9 minus 8 into 2 is equal to 2 plus 6 equal to 8. And the next digit 9, again 9 minus 9 equal to 0 into 2 plus 8. 8 is a neighbor, so it is 8. Coming to this digit, so 9 minus 9 into 2 plus 9 is a neighbor, so it is 9. So coming to the last digit, as I mentioned, that we will have to reduce by 2. The leftmost multiplicand number digit has to be reduced by 2. So it is 9 minus 2 equal to 7. So the answer is 79888. Let's see an example for 8 with carry forwards. So here, for the first step, we'll have to subtract the number by with 10. 10 minus 1 into double. So into 2 equal to 18. 9 into 2 equal to 18, so we'll have to keep the result 8 and then carry forward the number 1 towards the next digit. And the middle step, we will have to subtract the number by with 9. So 9 minus 7 into double into 2 plus 1. 1 is a carry forward and plus 1 is a carry forward and 1 is a neighbor. So it is 6. Coming to the next digit, again you will have to subtract the number with 9 minus 3 into 2 and plus 7 is a neighbor, so it is 19. You will have to keep 9 and carry forward the number 1 towards the next digit, and 9 minus 2 into 2 is 14 plus 3 is a neighbor and plus 1 is a carry forward, so it is 18. 8 and keep 8 here and 1 carry forward. And then here you will have to consider the last step. In the last step, you will be taking the leftmost digit, that is 2, and minus 2 and plus carry forward as 1, so it is equal to 1. So the answer is 18968. Let's say for table 8, the rule are same as for the rule 9 and the steps are similar to what we have seen for the table 9. So here we are going to apply the steps first and last step for these numbers from 01 to 09, and middle step will be applicable only for the last digit, that is 010. So here in the rightmost digit from 1 to 9, we are doubling the number after subtracting the number by with 10. So 10 minus 1 into 2 equal to 18, 16, 14, 12, like that. So and we are since these are the double digit numbers, so we are carry forwarding that particular one or towards the next digit. So if we consider this particular digit 0, so here we will have to we will have to take the leftmost digit, that is 1, plus 1 is a carry forward, and minus 2 equal to 0. So here if we see this the case for 0 2, then 2 is the leftmost digit and plus 1 is a carry which is coming from the rightmost digit, and minus 2, so equal to 1. And the next one you can see 0 3, 3 is the leftmost digit, 3 plus 1 carry and minus 2 is the rule, so it is 2. Likewise, you can see how the table is derived using these rules. Let's see the multiplication for 4 and 3. And for 4 and 3, the steps and the rules mentioned are more complicated than what we have seen for other numbers. So here, for rule for 4 is the first step, the subtract the number from 10 and add 5 if the number is odd. So if the number is odd, you will have to add additional 5 in the first step. In the middle step, subtract from 9 and add half the neighbor. You will have to half the neighbor, add half the neighbor, and add 5 if the number is odd. And the last step, you will have to consider only half the leftmost digit of the multiplicand and reduce it by 1. Let's see an example here for 4. So for the first step, as it is mentioned, subtract the number from 10 and add 5 if the number is odd. Since the first step is 4, it's an even number, so we are not going to add 5. So it is just subtracted from 10 and it is equal to 6. And going to the next digit, and this is a middle step, so subtract the number from 9, so 9 minus 7, plus add half the neighbor. You will have to add half the neighbor, so the neighbor is 4, half the neighbor is 2, and plus 5. We will have to add 5 since the number is odd, so it is 9. Again, for the next number 6, again we'll have to apply the same rule here. 9 minus 6 and plus half the neighbor, and half the neighbor of 7 is 3 equal to 6. So next, coming to 9, here it is 9 minus 9. You will have to subtract the number from 9 plus half the neighbor, and this number is odd, so we'll have to add 5 to it, so the total is 8. And since here is the last step, in the last step we'll have to consider half the neighbor, and the neighbor we will have to consider the last leftmost digit, that is 9, and we'll have to consider half of it. So that is half of 9 is 4, and reduce it by 1. It is 4 minus 1 equal to 3. So the answer is 38696. An example with carry forwards. So here we are considering an odd number. So as I mentioned, when it is odd, you will have to subtract the number with 10 and then add 5 to it. So 10 minus 3 plus 7 equal to 12. So you will keep the result here 2 and carry forward the number 1 to the next digit. Again, 7 is an odd number, so you will have to subtract the middle step from 9 minus 7 plus 1. 1 is an half of the neighbor, so 3 half of the neighbor is 1, plus 5, since it is odd we'll have to add 5, and then plus 1 is a carry, so it is 9. So 6 is an even number, so it is 9 minus 6 plus 3 is half of the neighbor, so it is 6. So the next number 8, next number 9, so 9 minus 9 plus 3 is half of the neighbor, 6, and since the number is odd we'll have to add 5 to it, so 5. So the answer is 8. And then in the last step we will have to consider the leftmost digit half, so it is half of the number 9 is 4, and it is reduced by 1 minus 1 equal to 3. So the answer is 38692. Have a look at 4 table. So similarly for the table 8 and 9, here for 4 and 3 also will apply the rule for first step and the last step when deriving a table. Only for the digit 0 1 0 will be applying the middle step. So for the rightmost digit 1 to 9, you see that I have added a number 5 because only for the odd numbers, that is 1 3 5 7 9, and I have added 5. So and the last number we are just subtracting with the number from 10, 10 minus 1 and 10 minus 2, 10 minus 3 and plus 5 if it is odd. So this is how it goes for this particular digit, and for this digit we are just we are considering the leftmost digit, and we are considering it by half, so it is 0 minus 1, 1, 0 minus 1 and plus 1 equal to 0. So here the last 1 plus 1 is the carry forward of this number, and 1 is the digit, is the rule for the last step, that you will have to reduce it by 1. So in this case, 0 represents half of the neighbor, that is half of the neighbor of 1 is 0, minus 1, 1 is a rule that we have to reduce it by 1, and then plus carry is 1. So 0 minus 1 plus 1 equal to 0. This is how it is evaluated. Similarly, you can see, and there is some interesting thing that you can see here, 0 1 0 into 4. So here the last digit 0, when it has to be divided by, it has to be subtracted by 10. So 10 minus 0 equal to 10. So we will have to carry forward the number 1 towards the next digit. So here you can see here we will have to apply the middle step. And the middle step is subtract from 9 and add half the neighbor and add 5, the number is odd. So 9 minus 1, we will be subtracting the number with 9, 9 minus 1 plus half the neighbor, and the neighbor is 0, and the half the neighbor of 0 is 0, plus 5. This, since the number is odd, you will have to add 5 and then plus 1. 1 is a carry forward taken from here. So it comes to 14. You will have to keep 4 and then carry forward the number 1 towards the next digit. Here, as the rule applies, you will have to consider the number 1 and half of it. So 0 minus, and the rule of reduce it by 1, so it is 0 minus 1, and plus 1 is a carry forward, so it is plus 1. So it becomes 0 minus 1 and plus 1 is 0. So this is how the table can be derived using this rule. Let's have a look at 3, multiplication with any number. So here the rule for 3 is similar to what we have seen for 4, but only thing is we will have to double the number here. Subtract the number from 10, and before adding 5, for the number, if it is odd, we'll have to double the number. And similarly, you can see the middle steps also. You will have to first subtract from 9 and then double the number and then half the neighbor and add 5, the number is odd. And for the last step, you will have to reduce, instead of reducing it by 1, you will have to reduce it by 2. So here you can see an example here for the multiplication of 3. The first step is we will have to reduce it. We will have to reduce this number by 10. So 10 minus 8 into double the number. You will have to double the number into 2, and plus add 5. The number is odd. Since the number is even, you don't have to add anything. So it is 4. So the next number, you will have to apply the middle steps here. So middle step, subtract from 9. 9 minus 8 into 2, double the number. Then plus add half the neighbor. You will have to add half the neighbor. The neighbor is 8, so you will have to add half the neighbor. It is 6. So here also it goes similarly, at 9 minus 8 into 2 plus 4, 6. And then here the number is odd, so you will have to first minus, you will have to subtract the number 9 from 9. 9 minus 9 into 2 plus 4. You will have to add half the neighbor is 4 here, and plus 5. Since the number is odd, we'll have to add 5 here. So 5 plus 4 equal to 9, and it is 0. So 4 plus 5 equal to 9. And the last digit, we will have to consider the half of the neighbor, half of the leftmost digit, that is 9. Half of the 9 is 4, and 4 minus 2. 4 minus 2. 2 is a rule which we will have to reduce it by 2. This is a rule of 3. So you will have to subtract 2 from 4, which is 2. The answer is 29664. And considering the last example of 3 with carry forwards. So here you will, here it's the same thing, that you subtract the number from 10, double and 5, add 5, the 5 if the number is odd. Since the number is 2, it's an even number, so we are not adding anything here, and we'll have to subtract the number 2 from 10 and double it, so 16. So you will have to keep 6 as a result and 1 carry forward to the next digit. Since the number is odd, so we'll have to add 5 here, and then first we will have to, since it's a middle step, you will have to subtract the number from 9. 9 minus 5 and double into 2. Then it becomes 8. 8 plus 1, half the neighbor. Half the neighbor is 1, and plus 5 because it is odd, and plus 1 is a carry forward. So it is 15. We'll keep 5 here and carry forward the number 1. And then again, this is a middle step. You will have to uh, subtract the number 4 from 9. 9 minus 4 into double into 2 plus 2. 2 is half of the neighbor for 5 and plus 1 the carry, and here it's an even number, so we are not adding 5 here. So we'll keep the result 3 and carry forward the number 1. Then again here 9 minus 9 into 2 plus 2 half the neighbor plus 5 is odd number, so we're adding 5 and plus 1 carry, so it becomes 8. So for the last digit we are considering half the leftmost digit, that is 9. 9 half of the 9 is 4. 4 minus 2, we are applying the rule reduce by 2, so we are reducing it by 2. So 4 minus 2 equal to 2. So the answer is 28356. And this is how we have derived the table for 3. And and it looks very similar to what we have seen for 4. The only thing is we are doubling the number when after subtracting the last digit with 10. And this is how the rule can be applied for deriving a table of 3. Last, we see the rule for 2, 1 and 0. As we all know, that rule for 2 is just doubling the number. Whatever the number we see, we will have just need to double the number. If any carry forward, so we'll have to carry forward the number towards the next digit. And rule for 1 is just take the number as it is. And rule for 0 is always 0. Any 0 times any number is always 0. So these are the simple rules and it doesn't require any explanation. I hope you like the content of today's lecture. When I first gone through these amazing methods by great mathematician Rachtenberg, it looked awesome for me and it motivated me to share the same through these lectures on this platform. Make the best use of it and enjoy learning. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next lecture. Until then, take care.